taking the life of John F. Kennedy Jr. as he piloted a plane with his wife and sister-in-law. Born into fame, JFK Jr. faced personal and professional challenges, but embraced a passion for flying. Was it an accident, foul play, or the eerie continuation of the Kennedy curse? Investigations revealed spatial disorientation, yet questions linger about the tragic night. What really happened in JFK Jr.'s last moments? Well, to know all about his story, stay tuned till the end of this video. On July 16, 1999, the ominous Kennedy curse struck once more, this time claiming the life of John, who was piloting the ill-fated plane. Born into a world of fame, just weeks before his birth, his father became the President of the United States. However, the cruel hand of fate allowed him only 3 brief years in the shadow of the White House. Tragedy struck when his father, President Kennedy, was assassinated in 1963, leaving a heart-wrenching image of young John Jr. saluting his father's coffin. Growing up in the limelight, he aimed to carve his own path, working in various roles in New York's business development before rising to the position of deputy director. Despite the challenges of his high-profile life, John remained determined to be his own man, stepping on a journey that would ultimately lead to the heartbreak of July 16, 1999. What unfolded in those final moments, and was it a mere twist of fate or something more foreboding? In 1988, Kennedy Jr.'s fascination with the law sparked as he worked as a summer associate in a Los Angeles law firm. Despite facing setbacks, failing the bar exam twice, his determination led him to become an assistant district attorney in New York by 1990. Firmly, he vowed to conquer the bar exam and succeeded on his 3rd attempt. Graduating from Brown University in 1990 and New York University Law School, he marked his entry into the legal world by winning his first case as a prosecutor in 1991. Amidst high-profile romances, he found enduring love, marrying Carolyn Bessette, a Calvin Klein publicist, in 1996. Their union faced the relentless intrusion of paparazzi, straining Carolyn's efforts to establish herself beyond her husband's fame. Despite the challenges, their bond remained strong into the late 1990s, even as John pursued his childhood dream of flying. Learning to soar at the Flight Safety Academy in Vero Beach, Florida, John's passion for flying became a defining chapter in his journey. In April 1998, Kennedy Jr. achieved a lifelong dream by obtaining his pilot's license, and the excitement continued as he purchased a Piper Saratoga light aircraft in the following year. This sleek 6-seater beauty, acquired from Airbound Aviation, was set to become part of his aviation adventures. Unfortunately, destiny took an unforeseen turn less than 3 months later on July 16, 1999. On that crucial day, John, accompanied by his wife Carolyn and sister-in-law Lauren Bessette, set out from Essex County Airport near Fairfield, New Jersey, bound for his cousin Rory Kennedy's wedding in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. Their plan included a stop at Martha's Vineyard to drop off Lauren before completing their journey. However, the promising day turned tragic, as the trio never reached their intended destination. The events leading up to this ill-fated flight seemed ordinary: a luncheon with George Magazine's editors, a gym workout, and leaving work to pick up his sister-in-law at 1 p.m. John, known for his safety consciousness, had earlier expressed nervousness about the trip, even canceling a flight due to inexperience. His concerns were shared with a friend. As Carolyn joined them at Essex County Airport after an afternoon of shopping, heavy traffic delayed their departure into the approaching night. Little did they know that these seemingly routine moments would intertwine with a heartbreaking destiny, marking the final chapter in Kennedy Jr.'s extraordinary life. In the moments leading up to July 16, 1999, Kennedy Jr. faced a critical decision that would tragically shape the course of history. Just a few months earlier, He had canceled a scheduled flight due to unfavorable flying conditions, and as he peered into the ominous night sky on that particular evening, doubt crept into his mind once again. However, the weight of commitment pressed upon him as two important women in his life, Carolyn and Lauren, had schedules to keep. Despite his own reservations, John couldn't bear to let them down, convincing himself that he could navigate the journey safely. At the airport, another pilot, Kyle Bailey, who had assisted in preparing John's plane for the flight, harbored concerns about the escalating weather conditions. Kyle, originally set to fly to Martha's Vineyard himself, opted to forego the journey, recognizing the thick fog settling in the air and the encroaching darkness severely hampering visibility. Adding to the complexity of the situation was a factor of significance. John F. Kennedy Jr.'s recent recovery from a broken ankle sustained in a hang-gliding accident just a few weeks prior. His ankle had been immobilized in a plaster cast during the recovery period, grounding him temporarily. However, at the time of the ill-fated flight, the cast had been removed, and John, feeling confident in his ability to fly once more, decided to step on this journey. With firm determination, he climbed aboard his small aircraft, stepping into the cockpit with a sense of freedom from the media scrutiny that had often surrounded him. In the row behind him, Carolyn and Lauren took their seats, unaware of the challenges that lay ahead. The decision to fly under less than ideal conditions, coupled with recovering from a recent injury, presented an unsettling combination of factors. Yet, driven by a desire to keep commitments and perhaps seeking solace in the act of flying, John took control of the aircraft, dismissing the cautionary whispers that may have echoed in his mind. As the plane taxied down the runway, little did anyone know that this would mark the beginning of a tragic journey into the unknown. As they ascended into the night sky, the weather conditions proved to be more formidable than anticipated. The thick fog, now an ominous shroud, enveloped the aircraft, rendering visuals practically non-existent. The intensifying darkness further compounded the challenges, creating an environment where even the most seasoned pilots would find navigation arduous. In the cockpit, John, with just over a year of flying experience, grappled with the complexities of the situation. The decision to fly solely relying on visual references, as his visual flight rules, certification permitted, became increasingly perilous in the face of worsening conditions. Despite concerns raised by Kyle Bailey and John's own earlier apprehensions, the journey pressed on. The plane, a Piper Saratoga, carried them towards Martha's Vineyard, with John attempting to overcome the limitations imposed by the weather. Despite being a licensed pilot for just over a year, with a mere 300 hours of flying experience, John undertook the responsibility of navigating the night sky. His instructor, reflecting on hindsight, later revealed that John often grappled with confusion about which instruments demanded his attention. Concerned for his safety, the instructor offered to accompany John as a co-pilot, but driven by a desire for solitude above the clouds, John insisted on flying solo. He found relief in the cockpit from the constant scrutiny from the media that had long surrounded his life. It became a sanctuary where he could focus solely on flying, momentarily escaping the weight of his worries. As the clock struck 8:38 p.m., they stepped on their journey, plunging into the engulfing darkness. John, with determination in his heart, endeavored to navigate towards their first destination. However, the challenge mounted as visibility at Martha's Vineyard dwindled to a mere 6 miles. John's relatively recent pilot's license, acquired only a short time before, permitted him to fly under conditions where visibility was at least 5 miles. Yet, crucially, he lacked the qualification to solely rely on the aircraft's instruments for navigation. John was classified as a VFR-rated pilot, bound by specific guidelines that mandated the use of visual references during flight. This certification restricted him from flying solely based on instrument readings. As the small aircraft ascended into the night, the limitations of John's qualifications collided with the increasingly adverse conditions. The darkness outside the cockpit became an impenetrable veil, challenging even the most seasoned aviators. John's decision to fly solo, perhaps seeking solace in the isolation of the cockpit, unfolded as a pivotal misstep. The weight of the moment intensified as Martha's Vineyard loomed ahead, its visibility reduced to a mere 6 miles. Once pilots earn their wings, a new realm beckons: IFR, or Instrument Flight Rules. This designation allows aviators to operate aircraft solely relying on instruments, bypassing the need to glance out the window. In John F. Kennedy Jr.'s case, he opted to fly under VFR on that ill-fated night, a choice restricting him to navigating with visual references. With Martha's Vineyard as his intended destination, the plan was a swift 1-hour flight. However, as the weather grew turbulent, John encountered obstacles. Strangely, he hadn't charted a detailed flight plan, and radio silence meant he missed crucial weather updates. The fog descended as he ventured inland, a decision with unforeseen consequences. After 62 minutes of flying, with just 20 miles remaining, John radioed Martha's Vineyard Airport during his descent. Yet, something went wrong in those critical moments. Experts speculate that spatial disorientation, a perilous phenomenon for pilots without IFR certification, overcame him. In the vast night sky, a disorienting blend of black sea and sky played tricks on his senses, akin to a disconcerting black hole or vertigo. Dials on the cockpit's dashboard told one story, while John's mind and instincts painted another, a daunting challenge for even the most seasoned pilots. Imagine a pilot feeling the plane veering right, contrary to what the instrument dials insist. Seeking to correct this perceived deviation, they might unintentionally overcorrect, putting the aircraft in jeopardy. This is the challenge that John faced on that fateful night. At 9:34 p.m., he initiated a rapid descent, hurtling towards the ground at a staggering 700 feet per minute from an altitude of 2,300 feet. Minutes later, the aircraft's trajectory took a tumultuous turn. By 9:40 p.m., John abruptly veered to the right, climbing to 2,600 feet. The plane then swayed leftward, struggling to find its path in the dark expanse above. The night sky, usually a celestial canvas, became a confusing maze for John. He grappled with disorienting factors, compounded by reported challenging weather conditions. In less than half a minute, the aircraft disappeared from radar screens, leaving behind a haunting echo of the intense struggle between a pilot's instincts and the formidable forces of nature. In these distressing moments, the delicate balance between control and chaos unraveled, sealing the tragic fate of John's final flight. In the heart-wrenching descent of the Piper Saratoga on that fateful night, tragedy unfolded just 700 feet above the Atlantic Ocean, a mere 8 miles from the comforting embrace of the shore. The sudden plunge was devoid of the desperate plea of a Mayday message, a silent testimony to the rapid and unforeseen chain of events that sealed the fate of John F. Kennedy Jr., who was at the controls of the ill-fated aircraft. The serenity of the night sky transformed into a theater of despair as the Piper Saratoga hurtled towards the dark expanse of the ocean below. Kyle Bailey, a witness on the ground at Essex County Airport, sensed the gravity of the situation. He suspected a disorienting moment as he believed the plane might have been inverted just moments before the tragic crash. In the cockpit, John grappled with an incapacitating drop in altitude, a merciless descent that offered no room for recovery. The aircraft, a 6-seater single-engine Piper Saratoga became a vessel of doom, hurtling towards an oceanic collision that would imprint itself on history. The lack of any Mayday call hinted at the swiftness of the unfolding tragedy. John, striving against the relentless force of fate, found himself in a desperate struggle to rectify the plane's trajectory. The Piper Saratoga, a symbol of freedom in flight, succumbed to the forces beyond human control. The crash, marked by the absence of a distress signal, painted a picture of a calamity that struck with swift and ruthless efficiency. As the aircraft descended at a breathtaking speed of 4,700 feet per minute, the last glimmers of hope for a safe landing vanished. The radar captured the plane at a harrowing altitude of 1,100 feet, a mere heartbeat away from the surface of the unforgiving ocean. Impact with the water occurred at a staggering 79 feet per second, a collision that severed the wings from the fuselage, shattering the integrity of the aircraft. In those tragic moments, the 3 occupants, John, his wife Carolyn, and her sister Lauren, were thrust forward in their seats, succumbing to catastrophic injuries. The wreckage, now separated from the living world, sank into the depths of the Atlantic, concealing the aftermath of a tragedy that would send shockwaves around the globe. The promise of a serene flight over the water turned into a nightmare, leaving behind a debris field as a haunting reminder of the fragility of life. When Martha's Vineyard awaited the arrival of the Piper Saratoga and received no sign, a search party composed of Coast Guard and Air Force personnel mobilized to scour the sea and skies along the coastline. The subsequent day brought somber discoveries: fragments of the aircraft and a poignant relic, a black suitcase belonging to Lauren. Hopes for the survival of the crew were extinguished, and the world grappled with the tragic reality of their loss. 3 days after the crash, on July 19th, sonar from the NOAA vessel Rude detected a debris field on the seabed. Divers, bravely descending to depths of 120 feet, encountered the twisted and battered fuselage of the Piper Saratoga. On July 21st, the bodies of John, Carolyn, and Lauren were somberly retrieved, still secured in their seats. An autopsy revealed the stark truth: multiple traumas upon impact had claimed their lives. The news spread globally, echoing the recurring theme of the Kennedy curse. John, at 38, Carolyn, at 33, and Lauren, at 34, had become victims of a high-profile tragedy, joining the ranks of those touched by the inexorable hand of misfortune in the Kennedy family saga. In the aftermath of such profound sorrow, a torrent of conspiracy theories surged like a tempest. Some speculated that John intentionally crashed the plane, grappling with challenges both in his marriage and professional life. However, dissenting voices arose, pointing to the imminent celebration of his cousin's wedding as evidence against a deliberate act. Fears of JFK Jr.'s rising popularity and potential presidential aspirations fueled rumors of sabotage on the ill-fated plane. Witnesses claiming to see an explosive burst in the sky during the descent added an extra layer of mystery. However, investigative efforts unfolded these conspiracy-laden narratives. No signs of tampering were found, and a recent safety inspection dismissed mechanical failure. The witnesses' claim of a mid-air explosion turned out to be a baseless rumor, further veiling the incident in layers of confusion. Despite John's historical quest to uncover his father's truths, the investigation dispelled notions of dangerous obsession or foul play by the living. Amidst the lingering shadows, a persistent belief emerged: the idea that John might have somehow escaped the tragedy, seeking refuge in the remote wilderness of Pennsylvania, far from the prying eyes of the media. The final chapter unfolded on July 22nd, with John's ashes scattered at sea off the coast of Martha's Vineyard. A debate ensued over the nature of his memorial service, ultimately resulting in an intimate gathering at the Church of St. Thomas More, a sacred space familiar to him. In a poignant reflection, Uncle Ted Kennedy remarked that John, much like his father, possessed every gift except the luxury of time. Well, do you remember our great legend John F. Kennedy Jr.? Let us know your answers in the comment section below. And if you like this video, then do give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to share it with your family and friends. And for more such amazing videos, do subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.